Hello and welcome to our video series on Rules Engine for Amazon Connect. My name is Ritesh and I'm a Senior Solutions Architect, Specialist for Amazon Connect based out of Sydney, Australia. In this video segment, we will look at how we build IVR applications that require decision making and personalization using the Rules Engine interface. Let's have a look at some of the sample use cases first. Developing a straight menu-based IVR is very easy within the Rules Engine. We often come across a situation where we need to make some decisions based on data attributes received from an external sources such as a Lambda function or a CRM interface. We use such attributes within the contact flows to play personal message or change the behavior of the flow. As an example, and probably a very common use case, is to give a different treatment to my callers if it is a non-working hour or a holiday today. Another example of this personalization is when we fetch some data from an external source, such as a CRM solution, and use it to play a personalized message to my callers. This and many more use cases can be easily configured using the Rules Engine. Personalization and decision making is done by adding one or more weights to the rules that you create in the Rules Engine. Weights provide a mechanism to check a call attribute such as is today a holiday against a specified value. If the operation outcome is true, a weight value is added to the total score of the rule. The attribute that you check can either be a call variable or some stored call data variable returned by a previously executed Lambda function call. You can have multiple weights within a rule. In such a case, for each weight evaluated to be true, the weight score is added to the total score of the rule. The decision whether the rule is executed at runtime or not is determined by checking the total rule score against the activation threshold set in the rule. If the total rule score is greater than or equals to the activation threshold, then the rule is executed, or else it is skipped, moving on to the next rule within the rule set. In this video, we will be learning how to create and use weights with the help of some example use cases. Before we start creating and using weights, I wanted to introduce a new command option within the latest release of the Rules Engine interface called Interact. Interact allows you to mock the execution of your contact flows without actually making calls to Amazon Connect. Simply select the endpoint and the interface will play prompts and ask for inputs in a similar fashion as an actual contact on Amazon Connect. The interface also shows the debug, state, and journey messages on the screen, making it super helpful for admins and developers to understand the actual customer experience. There's a lot more to this, and there will be a separate video segment explaining how to debug and test your applications using this exciting new feature. Today, we will use this interface for testing weights within the rules. For the first example use case, let's assume that I'm creating a main menu flow. In this rule set, I have a welcome message being played directly up followed by the main menu options. Here, I want to introduce a warning message telling my callers to expect a high wait time in the queues on the days if it's a public holiday. To implement such a requirement, I will use the built-in feature of the Rules Engine that allows us to set up holidays. First, let's add a message rule that will play a warning message before the main menu. Create a new rule within the rule set and place it between the welcome message and the menu options. Set the activation threshold as 100. This is the value that will be used to compare with the total score of the rule. Set the rule type as message and enter a warning message informing the caller about the expected delay. Create the rule. On the next screen, select Create Wait. In the field name, enter system.holiday. Set the operation type as equals. Set the value as true. Note, this values field is case sensitive. In the wait field, enter 100. Select Create Wait. These settings will set the rule score as 100 if the system attribute value is found as true, making the score equal to the activation threshold of the rule. If the system attribute's value is not true, the score will not be impacted and the rule will be skipped from execution. Now let's add a holiday for today using the holidays option from the rules engine menu. Enter a holiday name, enter today's date for testing, enter an optional description, select create holiday. Using the interact option, let's do a quick test of our flow. Before starting the new interaction, ensure you have a break on every rule option checked under the Configure tab on the right of the screen. This will allow us to view the state of our attributes after each step. Select New Interaction and select the endpoint for our flow. As first step, you see a welcome message is being played to the caller. You can see the variable system.holiday is set as true since we have today marked as a holiday. Select Next Step to see the warning message being played to the caller. This is being played because we have set today as a holiday. The next step is our main menu. Now, if I change the holiday calendar to remove today's marked holiday and test again, the warning message will not be played to the caller. Let's try this. Using the interact option, initiate a new interaction again. This time, the system.holiday variable is set to false. The weight evaluation was false and the score did not add up to the activation threshold. Hence, a warning message is not being played to the caller. As you have seen, you can easily create your integrations and personalize the experience for your customers. Let's see this with another example. For a slightly more complex example, let's assume we want to greet a caller with their name and also inform if they have any outstanding bill to be paid, along with any pay by date. All the required fields for the customer are stored in a backend CRM that we can fetch using a Lambda function. For this example, instead of writing an actual Lambda, we will make use of a built-in echo function. For those who do not know about this echo function, the rules engine has a built-in dummy Lambda called the echo function that mimics the execution of a Lambda and also returns a JSON payload that you can specify in the request field. You can use this echo function to continue your flow development while waiting on the real Lambda for integration. In a rule set, create a rule of the type integration. From the Lambda function dropdown, select the echo function. In the output state field, enter the key name that we use to refer to the return attributes. Under the request payload, enter the key value pairs with some dummy data values in JSON format as shown in the example here. The echo function will return this payload that we can use to test our flows. Create rule. Back in the rule set, create another rule to play a personalized welcome message to the caller. For our example, we are assuming that we successfully identify the customer and have all the data returned by the Lambda function. In the real scenario, however, we would check if the customer was identified or not. Under the message field, you can directly refer to the attributes returned by the Lambda function. Simply start double curly brackets, the output state field name, a dot, the attribute name, and close the double curly brackets. At the runtime, the rules engine replaces these with actual values. Create rule. Add another rule to the rule set where we will play an outstanding bill to the caller. For this, we will use the weights to make a decision based on the data flag received from the backend service. Set the activation threshold as 100. In the message text field, enter the message informing the caller about the outstanding amount, directly referring to the amount returned by the JSON payload. Do note that the rules engine provides preset formatting for text to be played out to the caller, such as converting cents into dollars before playing out to the callers. Please refer to our help section for these. For this rule, create a weight that will determine if there is an outstanding or not. Set the weight criteria with the field name, operation type, and value as shown here. Set the weight as 100. With these settings, if our lambda returned attribute outstanding has a value of true, the message with the outstanding value will be played back to the caller. Add another rule to the rule set with some DTMF based main menu options for completing the flow. Using the Interact tab, let's test the flow behavior. Make sure you have the break on every rule checked under the Configure tab on the right of the screen. Remember, in my example, the echo function is returning outstanding variable as true. Hence, we are expecting the outstanding amount message to be played back to the caller. Here, you will be able to see that based on return attributes from the lambda function execution, the outstanding amount message is being played to the caller. If we receive the outstanding as false, the message will not be played. In this video, you see how we can add personalization for the callers by using return values from the external sources and by using weights to make decisions at runtime. There are many more such use cases that you can easily implement with the help of Rules Engine. We also used the new interact feature of the Rules Engine that allows you to test your contact flows without actually making calls into the Amazon Connected instance. We will see you in our next training video soon. Happy routing!